time again to look back at the year and see what the most expensive Lincoln pennies were to have sold during 2021. The first coin on the list is a well-known variety coin that needs little introduction, the 1922 No D Strong Reverse Wheat Cent. This coin is a fantastic variety that came about as the result of a severely clashed pair of dies at the Denver Mint. The reverse die was apparently damaged beyond repair and had to be replaced completely, hence the sharp details on the reverse that we see now. But the obverse was polished to remove the clash marks, and in the process, the D mint mark was removed from the coin. We know this because the Denver Mint was the only facility to issue pennies during that year. Otherwise, this variety might very well have gone completely unnoticed. Sold in July at the 46 Regency Auction, this coin graded as PCGS MS64 Brown and attained a closing price of $49,937.50. The next coin is again an impressive variety, a very strong repunched mint mark, the 1944 D over S, where the D mint mark is placed over a pre-existing S mint mark that you can clearly still see towards the top of the D, as well as just towards the north of the inside cavity of the D as well. This coin is also in a very desirable grade of MS67 Red from PCGS, which means that this coin is tied for the finest known with only one other example that managed to secure it a final price at auction of $49,937.50 during December. Now, when coming up with a list of the most expensive or even the rarest of Lincoln pennies, the 1910S is not a coin that will automatically jump to the minds for most people. It is true that the mintage was barely over 6 million coins, which for the Lincoln penny series is fairly low, but it is still a coin that you can find with relative ease. So, to appear on a list like this, it has to be exceptional in some way, and in fact, this one is, by being the sole finest known example of the issue at a grade of MS67 plus Red from PCGS. The coin was sold by Great Collections in June for $54,562.50. The coin we find in the number 7 position is the Lincoln penny's first year of issue, 1909, but not just any 1909 cent either. This is the 1909 VDB cent, where the coin's designer's initials of Victor D. Brenner, or VDB, can be seen towards the bottom of the reverse design, just in between the two stems of the wheat stalks, before it was unceremoniously removed from the design following objections. This coin is once again a conditional rarity at the very top of the conditional census. Graded as PCGS MS68 Red, it sold at auction by Heritage for $56,400. And while we're discussing the 1909 VDB, there was also a matte-proof version of the coin sold by Legend Rare Coins in October, graded as PCGS Proof 66 Red Brown for $55,812. The 1914 S Lincoln cent is too often overshadowed by its cousin from the Denver Mint, the 1914 D cent. But the San Francisco native is all the same a semi-key date for the Lincoln penny series. Especially in mint state grades, you will see the population figures dwindle very dramatically. The finest known examples sit at the MS66 Red level on the population report. This is one of those coins. With brilliant red luster, it has unbeatable eye appeal as well. No wonder then that Stax Bowers managed to sell this coin at auction for $57,600. Now, at the halfway mark, we have an impressively high-grade example of one of the most popular, well-known, and sought-after variety coins probably for the entire modern series, let alone the Lincoln Cent. The 1969 S double die obverse penny, where the obverse design was doubled to such a dramatic degree that it could easily be seen with the naked eye alone. This example was graded by PCGS as MS64 red and sold at auction by Heritage for $58,800 in June. And now, a special treat for the connoisseur of proof Lincoln Cents, as the only true proof coin on this list, not counting the matte proof specimen that we saw earlier. The sole finest known deep cameo example of the 1952 penny. To my knowledge, the first time that this particular coin has actually appeared at public auction, and it put on quite a showing for that. Graded as PCGS Proof 68 Red Deep Cameo. By the time the auctioneer's gavel fell on this lot, the coin had changed hands for $64,625. Now, if you were new to the hobby, and then based purely off of the auction reports alone for this year, you might be forgiven for thinking that the 1943 copper cent is not quite as rare as it truly is, as multiple coins for this rare type were offered at auction during the year. But make absolutely no mistake, it is easily one of the rarest coins out of the US Mint for the past 100 years with ease. The population report only reflects 21 grading events for this Philadelphia wrong Planchet mint era. The coin we are looking at now is the Martin Beyer example, discovered in circulation circa mid-1950s. This coin is now housed in a PCGS slab graded as MS62 brown and was sold at auction by Heritage for $372,000. The next coin offered was the Albert Michael Pratt example, a coin which was previously housed in an NGC slab but has now been crossed over to PCGS, maintaining its grade of MS62 brown. This one was sold at auction in April for $348,000. And one more coin I'd like to mention came to us from the Donald Podrick collection, graded by NGC as AU55 brown. It saw a closing price at auction of $240,000. And then, the coin to take the silver prize, rather appropriately in a sense, is the 1944 steel penny. Again, this is a wrong Planchet mint era, just like the 1943 copper one, but this time the cent was supposed to be struck on the copper planchets, and instead they were minted on zinc-coated steel blanks instead by mistake. This is one of only two known examples of the 1944 steel penny from the San Francisco Mint, with the S mint mark. It also appears to be the finest known mint state graded 1944 steel cent from any mint. With a grade of PCGS MS66, it sold at auction for $408,000. And then yet more 1944 steel cents were then seen at auction this year, but this time both were from the Philadelphia Mint, so no mint mark on these. And again, to emphasize, it is estimated that no more than 10 to 15 of these coins are left surviving today, so to see so many of them offered within the same calendar year is unusual. Graded as PCGS MS64, this coin was sold in June by Heritage Auctions and achieved a closing price at auction of $180,000. And I'll mention just one other coin, another PCGS graded MS64 example, this time from the Simpson collection, that was offered at the ANA's World's Fair of Money for $108,000 at auction. And then, for the most expensive Lincoln cent sold in 2021. Well, really the most expensive Lincoln cent, period. The 1943 D copper penny, exactly like the 1943 coins that we just looked at a moment ago. This coin was minted by mistake in 1943. A year when all Lincoln pennies were supposed to be struck from zinc-coated steel instead. But where this coin is different is that it is the only example that has the D-mint mark from the Denver Mint, the only known example to exist. So when this coin was offered at public auction in January, housed in a PCGS slab with a grade of MS64 brown, it sold for $840,000. So those were the top 10, well, technically, I suppose the top 15 most expensive Lincoln pennies that were sold during 2021. Subscribe to WNN and activate notifications with the bell icon so you'll know when new videos are released. For the World Numismatic News, I am Numisman saying thank you for watching, stay safe, keep collecting, and of course have a fantastic day.